Okay, so this is problem 5.4.15. And we're asked to factor, and we have 6u squared plus 29u minus 42. And they asked to factor by grouping, which essentially means using the AC method. And I'm going to show both methods for factoring here. So we have two different methods that we can factor this by. The first method that I'm going to show you is the trial and error method. And I like the trial and error method because it does take a little bit longer to learn, but once you've learned it, it's a much faster method than the AC method. Okay. All right, so with the trial and error method, what you're doing is you're literally just going to try some stuff, and when you make an error, you try it again. Okay. So you start by writing down, here's what we're factoring. Writing down a set of parentheses, and then you're just going to say, I'm going to take the factors of 6, so the different options that I have for 6 are 1 times 6 or 3 times 2, and I'm going to try those out in the first positions, okay? And then the 42, the different options are 1 and 42, and 6 and 7, and I'm going to try those out in the last positions. And really what I'm looking for is a combination that will give me the 29 for the middle. Okay, so for instance, if I do 3u and 2u, that takes care of my 6u squared. And then I'm going to try, let's just say, a 6 and a 7 with this. So if I put 6 there and 7 there, then I can see that the outside here is 18u, the inside is 14u. And then I want to ask myself, is there any way that I can combine these with signs to get a positive 29? And there isn't. So this isn't going to work. Okay, so cross it off, and we try another one. So let's try 3u, 2u, and let's put the 6 there and the 7 there. Okay, so this is 21u. This is 12u. And again, we're looking for 29. There's no way I can put these signs positive, negative, 1 positive, 1 negative. There's no way we can do that in order to get this to be a 29, so that doesn't work either. Okay, so trial and error method is just this process of trying different things. This particular problem, and once you learn how to do trial and error well, you can actually just start to see what it's going to be. So 6u and u, I'm going to use 6 and 1, and then for the 42, I'm going to use 6 and 7, and I'm going to put them 6 there and 7 there. So this gives me an outside of 36u and an inside of 7u. Okay, so so if we're looking for a positive 29, if I make the 36 positive and the 7 negative, then that will give me a positive 29. So this positive 36u came from multiplying these two, and then the inside here, this came from multiplying those two. So this would be our factorization here. This 6u minus 7, and then u plus 6. Okay, so that's using the trial and error method. That's how we get to that answer. And then if we're going to use the AC method, then, the AC method is a method that will always work. But when your numbers get a little bit larger, it can become a little bit cumbersome, and it is more time consuming to do. So I tend to encourage people to learn the trial and error method. But either method will work. Okay, so if we're going to use the AC method, we're going to identify A, B, and C. And we're really only concerned with A and C. The B doesn't really matter, but A here is 6, that's the coefficient of the squared, and C is negative 42. And then if I find A times C, so the AC method involves multiplying A and C together, so that's 6 and negative 42. 6 times negative 42 is going to give me a negative 252. Okay, so now what we're trying to do is make a factor list for negative 252. and we're looking for a combination of factors that's going to add to give us 29. Okay, so let's make this list. So we could have negative 1 times positive 252, or positive 1 times negative 252. And then you're just going to start using your calculator to go up in divisors. So let's take 252 and divide it by 2. And it may not be, divisible, then you just move up to the next number. So negative 2 and 126, 2 and negative 126. Okay, obviously these are not what we're looking for because we're trying to sum to be 29. So these are way too far apart. Okay, but I'm just going to keep going. So we have 3 and 84. So it could be a negative 3 and a positive 84, or positive 3 and negative 84. Okay. This 252 is actually divisible by a lot of numbers. So 4 and 63, so negative 4, or 4 and negative 63. That doesn't get me to 29, so keep going. It's not divisible by 5. Let's try by 6. So 6 and 42. And then let's try 7. So negative 7, positive 36, positive 7, negative 36. Okay, I'm going to stop there. There's a bunch more on its divisibility list, but the reason I'm going to stop is because I found the one that I need. So this is the one that I need right there. And this is the combination. Because if I take a negative 7 times 36, I get the negative 252. And these two numbers add to give me 29. And that's what I need in order to be able to break this up and factor this by grouping. AC method is factoring by grouping. Okay. So what I would do then is we would split the middle term. We would say this is 6u squared and plus 7u minus 36u and then minus 42. So that positive 29u, oops, I got my signs wrong. Sorry. The positive 29u is split up into a negative 7u and a positive 36u. Okay? And once we've done that, now we're factoring by grouping. So I'm just going to say, let's group the first two terms, and out of the first two terms, I'm going to pull out a u. That's the greatest common factor. And then I'm left with 6u minus 7. And the second two terms, I'm going to pull out a 6, and I'm left with 6u minus 7. Okay, so this is now the greatest common factor, and so if I pull that out, this is 6u minus 7, and then we're left with a u here and a plus 6 there. Okay, so notice we got the same factorization that we got previously using the trial and error method, but we just had this longer process to go through. Okay, so that's it for this problem.